Hey everybody, so it's the 1st of April, we're coming into the second quarter of the year now, so exciting times ahead. Second quarter, so I'm going to start with the USD CAD. From last week, I did explain what we've seen on the Friday, the meltdown, and so on and so forth. Now, market has been relatively quiet, to tell you the truth. And just remember that if we pull up the Fibonacci, taken from the highs down to the lows, on the daily time frame, we've come off the 61.8. Also, what we do have here, what we do have here is if we took a rectangle tool and we stretched it from 78.6 to 61.8 all the way down and across, this entire region is an area in which the market can actually rebound into and then strike off. So last Friday marked the day where, as price came into the 61.8, we got the bearish engulfing candle, we have the loss and lack of the bullish momentum coming through here, and also on the weekly, what's important is that, look where we are, price has been whipped all the way back down. For the week ahead, let's say if we catch back up on the Wednesday and then into the Friday, key valid areas and zones which we need to look out for. My internet's playing up at the moment, but if we take a look at the bodies, so we have here, gap down, pull back up, gap down. It's very, very messy. In such a scenario, we need to know exactly how we can actually read the chart, where the orders are in the field, to actually put a potential pointer on where our price projection could be. Now, USD CAD, I'd be very, very, very surprised if this pulls back up and breaks the highs. I think now USD CAD, it came into the regions of 3,450 where the crosshair is, consolidated for some time, pulled back to the downside, and now, as you can see, price is below 1.3350, 1.3344. We retested the back end of 350 today. I'll get to that in the lower time frames in a moment. But the Fibonacci target is pointing at 2.9. So we do have a 440 pip run. Bang. Coming into the 4 hourly, interesting. What we can clearly see, so we've just figured out the potentials for a higher scope, the longer term vision, could be medium term vision, but now after high made, double top, orders at the 3,450 level, off the back end of the news, spiking into 1.3350 just there where the crosshair is. Today we pulled back up. We do have a few spikes and we do have some support right here. I'm taking a supportive zone more or less where the body, that we can bring that across. And now we did make a new low on the 4 hourly and the hourly intraday, but what we can see here is spike to the high off the back end of that. We are having a little bit of trouble, but as the market does consolidate, we can maybe take the highs down to the lows and we could box off this region. We could box off the region. What's interesting here is this hourly spike to the upside. So we have 1, 2 lower, 3 lower. What we can also now probably expect is a rollover back to the downside. Rollover to the downside as long as we sustain the price area and momentum below 3,370, we would need a clear upside break of 3,370 for this to be invalid. Then we could think about alternative direction. Maybe we could pull back before our drop into this week. My bet though is if we take a look and put our eyes on this zone, anywhere around here really, 1.3260, 1.3250, I do believe that the market can trail down into that region, which is about 80-90 pips. So I'm looking for 80-90 pip bearish leg on USD CAD. If we look at the Astro Flick chart, on the 4 hourly, just over here, I'll just keep it on what we can see is that we broke above, again, translate this onto the left side, remember, test, and it's looking as if a new leg is underway, taking us up to those wicks there on the 4 hourly. So it does translate pretty well. So the 4 hourly on the right, hourly on the left, looking as if, yeah, we've got this bullish engulfing, quote unquote, bullish engulfing, and it looks as if market can start to travel. So look at the crosshair on the left screen. We can start to travel all the way into these wicks, which probably gives us a nice target at around 1.3261. So let's see how this one plays out. I'll catch back up on the next video. Hey guys, so on to USD CAD. Let's have a look at intraday price action. Okay, so after last Friday, with a meltdown from 3450 into the 3350 region, as you remember, we had this zone, which stretches as far back as here, 23rd of January. Bringing that across, we did have the breakthrough, mini little retest, price came back into 1.33. That is the figure we need to keep in our heads right now, because we just had another double bottom on the intraday chart, 4 hourly and the hourly, in which the market is rebounding from that zone again. If you look to the left, just here, 1.33, we've had the same pattern, 1, 2. Now we're getting 1, 2. The rebound over here, we came back into that region, 3,350, back down, consolidation, and so on. We could maybe experience similar price action to this. I don't believe it will be this drastic. I believe we may come back into 3,350 at maximum before actually rolling over to the downside. Looking at the day, since Monday, so the breakthrough with the retest, moving averages have crossed over to the downside, spike into the MAs through the 8, open, spike through the MAs, higher than the previous day though, only around maybe 10-15 pips, but the market closed back below. And then today also, indecisive price action, spike into the 8 MA, spike into 1.3350, and now we're about to roll over perhaps into the downside area. But if I put my crosshair at 3,300, you can clearly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 days in a row we've bounced from that. So it is a huge area of demand. 4 hourly, quite interesting. The moving averages are still down. We spiked back above them. Price was swiftly whipped back to the downside, retesting into that area and into that domain. But also this zone, this little intraday, that's an hourly, simple hourly key level of support. As we broke above that, we came back below it. Up here you can see this area of value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to the downside, and then we've created this double bottom. We more or less need to stay below 3,360 for this to proceed to the downside and create a new wave. Alternatively, if this price does hold firm from what I've just shown you on the daily time frame on the day a few months back, then we could maybe even pop back up and exceed this zone. Once we're trading back above this level, USD CAD does have the ability to climb all the way back into these regions. So for now, relating it to gold, as you can see on the other gold video, on Wednesday's gold video, I set up the short opportunity on the Monday. We came in to make that high there, and now it looks as if gold can start to dump. So USD CAD, the dollar, can actually gain some strength now perhaps. Who knows? Let's wait and see. But we just had the hourly crossover there too. So the hourly crossover, we've broken above a small intraday area of resistance over here. That's the next key point. I'm just going to bring that across. Next key point, 3,340, 3,350, just as a psychological level where we reacted to the other day. We more or less need to stay below this wick high just there for us to now potentially roll over. My bias is still bearish for now, but given the key factors I've just mentioned to you, let's see how this performs. And I'll catch back up on Friday and I'll explain the price action and see if there are any trade setups taken. Hey guys, so quick catch up on the USD CAD. It is April the 5th, and to be honest, there hasn't been too much market movement this week. And on the last video, we were consolidating around the 1.33 level. We did actually bounce back into that zone, the psychological level, and it appears that orders have actually been picked up to bring us 100 pips higher exactly. It's from 1.33 to 1.34. And as you can see on this 4 hour time frame, the last 4 hour candle, we spiked into 3.4. we've rejected close below, probably around 45 to 48% of the overall up move on that intraday time frame. That tells me that orders have been rejected at that zone. Profit taking is occurring from 3.3 up to 3.4. What can potentially happen now, it is Friday and I don't want to put this out there in solid stone, but if you can see the wick from this high, it's very clean cut, concise area of resistance at 1.34. We can potentially dip back below the region and then come back down to 3.260 to 3.250. On top of that, the only thing that more or less eradicates the bearish sentiment medium term is that at 3.3 from day 1, day 2, and then the third day we spike back into the zone, you can clearly see if I move my crosshair to the bodies of the candles, we can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, and even all the way across here, this zone has been respected greatly. And then not only has it just rebounded, we can see clear moves to the downside, to the upside, to the upside. So right now, looking at the weekly, look at the weekly time frame. We rebounded back into the moving averages. We've created a higher low from the previous, and now into next week we could see further upside. Moving averages are crossed to the upside on USD CAD monthly. Now in the last few videos there has been some slight confusion on this pair. It has been very, very difficult to read, don't get me wrong, but now we are breathing back above water on this region right here. So if I bring this over to the right hand side, moving averages are up on the weekly and they're also now up on the daily. The 4 hourly has crossed over as well. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this one out to see if we can maybe get a pullback into this zone and go higher. Who knows? We do have these barriers from last time that are still applicable. So hourly, pretty shoddy, pretty messy. I did have these other small hourly intraday levels on. One was right there, coming across, spiked, pulled back. Market was not having it, created a new mini lower, higher low, sorry. Market boosted, as well as the MAs crossing over, and the MAs are still crossed to the upside on the hourly time frame. And now it's just a case of seeing where this market can go next. I'm pretty, I won't say disappointed, but I am pretty surprised that the market didn't come back into this zone to retest this level, the lows of the wicks, before doing what it did here. But we've seen an intraday double bottom right on 3.3. But what we can take from this and learn from this is that we need to focus more on these psychological levels, especially when the market is pretty indecisive. We need to look at where the market is spiking into, again on the weekly time frame. So here, once more, very, very choppy behavior on CAD. This is very, very difficult to read, guys. I am sorry, it's very, very hard to read. What we do want though is a clear-cut run out of this zone, and then from there onwards, pick up steam to 3,650 maybe again. But right now, it's a bit all over the place, a bit vice versa. When it comes down to the bulls, the bears, reversals here, reversals there. So let's track and trace this next week. I won't really call this any success, but I am just pointing out some key factors on the chart. For now, if we were to maybe take off, we can simply put this trend line on, and as long as we're above that, we can maybe retest into this zone and then bounce off into highs. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the week. Bit of a slow week in the market, to be fair, but I do have some good stuff on the GBP AUD.